They score! They score!
Welcome to God's Playbook with your host, Father Rico Passero.
Lock at the 20, 10, 5, touchdown! Touchdown!
Let's play ball.
Friends, welcome back to God's Playbook. Today, to help us to really reflect upon the difference between revenge and mercy, the church gives us the story of Joseph and his brothers. In the book of Genesis, we know that Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers. How could they turn their backs on him? Well, it was all based on jealousy. And the story of Joseph is a story of brothers turning upon their brother. Talk about being stabbed in the back. And how the brothers lied to their father, suggesting that their brother was dead, because they were jealous of their father's love for him. For indeed, their father Jacob loved Joseph's mother most. In this passage that the church gives us today, Joseph was protected by God. And rather than sold into slavery, he rises through the rankings in Pharaoh's house. And as such, he, in the time of famine, is given the authority to dictate who gets to eat and who does not. And so as the world comes to him for grain, for food, his brothers begin to grovel before the man from Egypt that they fail to realize is their brother. Joseph is faced with a decision. Does he take revenge on his brothers, or does he show them mercy? What would you do if you were Joseph? Would you show your brothers mercy after they tried to kill you and sold you to be a slave, stopped you from seeing your parents, removed you from everyone who loves you? Would you take revenge on them if you were in a position of power, or would you show them mercy? Joseph had to answer that question. God tested him and allowed him in a position of authority to make the choice. What was Joseph going to do? The brothers groveling and not realizing that Joseph was their brother, how could they ever think that he is their own? Years have passed. How could he possibly be their brother? They are literally begging for their very livelihood, for them, for their father, and for their families. When we are desperate, we're almost willing to do anything to get what we need. This isn't about wants, this is about needs. Joseph puts them into prison to teach them a lesson, and perhaps he begins his decision of a little bit of revenge. But how the scripture says that he understood them as they dialogued with each other. And so he turns away from them and weeps. In the turning and the weeping, it's a reminder to us of the compassionate side, that Joseph still loved his brothers even though they betrayed him. This shows that Joseph was indeed a righteous person, and he did not choose revenge, but rather mercy. When we think of our own lives, friends, I encourage each of us to be like Joseph. Joseph had the power. How many times do we have the power to forgive, to be compassionate, to show mercy, as opposed to choosing revenge, resentment, and anger? How many times has God placed us in positions like Joseph? We often find ourselves in places that we would never have expected, or perhaps after much work, we find ourselves in a desirable place and receive the rewards of our hard work. How many times has the bully from high school come to us and asked for a job? Do we hire the bully or tell them where to go? Years later, still holding on to the grudges and the hurt that their words and actions created upon us. Perhaps it's a group of people that have hurt us in the past that we still hang on to prejudices or resentment towards. There are many instances in which Joseph's story is our story too. How often are we like the brothers, reliant on merciful people to forgive us whether we are conscious of our hurt towards them or not? The brothers don't deserve mercy and yet receive it. How often have others been kind to us, even though perhaps our words and actions have been unkind to them? Revenge versus mercy. As God tests each one of us, it's important for us to ask the question, what will my response be? Joseph made his choice. God invites us to make our choice. What will we choose? Let's reflect on that question and truly follow the way God would expect us. For God's Playbook, friends, I'm Father Rico. God loves you, and so do I.
If you like what you hear, please consider supporting us using any of our affiliate links in the description below via Buzzsprout, Ko-Fi, or GoFundMe. Thanks, and God bless.